Hi, I'm Midge Shoemaker, and today is day 49 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay for day 49. Almost halfway there. So excited to be done with my videos on writing. Um, I've noticed the last few days my videos have been a lot shorter. I usually ramble for like half hour, 40 minutes, or I have been. And I don't know why I ramble all that time. I probably repeat myself. I'm very repetitious, repetitive. I had a counseling appointment last week, and my counselor was talking about people that have trauma. One of the ways that they deal with their anxiety is to talk. And so I probably just talk a lot, ramble a lot, because one, I never felt like I was listened to, and two, it I guess helps with anxiety when you're in a traumatic situation. And so maybe I've just been really anxious, and I always get nervous doing these videos, so I don't know what I'm saying or doing, and so I ramble. And I know I ramble, I know I do all of those things, and somehow the last few days I've been doing my videos, and maybe I just haven't been as anxious, or maybe I just haven't had as much to ramble about. But I've had these short videos, and I was like, okay, short, succinct, to the point. They're not the half-hour ones anymore. So I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe it's because I just haven't been delving into all of my old emotions, or maybe because things are settling down for a little bit. Um, I'm not really sure how that works, but or maybe I'm just sticking to just what I'm writing and not talking about anything else in my life. I don't know. I don't go back and watch my videos. I think I'm more comfortable watching myself while I'm doing the videos and not feeling as anxious about doing them, but I still haven't got to that comfort level where I actually want to go back and watch myself do my videos. So, last night I had some fun with my video. I was talking to my friend today, and she said she really loved it when I flipped my hair, and I was like, I did that. I had to look and see what I did in my poem that related to that, but it was fun. And it was kind of fun to see that side of myself come out, to remember that that part of me has always been there. But in doing all of this writing, I'm discovering parts of myself, personalities, parts of my personality that I didn't know was there, or parts that I've hidden because it just never felt safe to say that, or because other people didn't get my sense of humor or my jokes or whatever. Um, and it was just kind of fun because then it's like, okay, it doesn't matter if anybody else gets it. Realized I was trying to explain some of my inside jokes into my poem last night. I was like, yeah, I guess if you have to explain it, it's not really funny, but it was entertaining to me. So I'm glad I was able to entertain myself, and hopefully some of you, with my poem last night. It's sitting next to me, so I keep wanting to stare at it because it was fun to do that. And today, I think because I did that, it made it feel safe for me to work on recognizing God's hand in my life. I spent maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. I had a story that I'd remembered. And so I had some notes just at the bottom somewhere. Well, when I opened it up, it was where the notes were at because they're not at the bottom. I went to the bottom today with something else, and I was like, oh my gosh. I probably have several pages or sections of just random story things that haven't quite connected or fit into my book yet. And I'm not really sure where I want to put them, or if I want to keep them, or what I want to do with them. So anyway, one of the story ideas I figured it goes in the section of being ignored. So I went back through and was rereading that section. I made a few minor sentence structures changes. And then just randomly I was reading, and there was the perfect spot to put that story that I thought of. And I was like, this is such a God thing, that the perfect spot in the section where I came up with, I was reminded of the story. I wrote it down that I need to put it in my book. And then I found like the perfect spot when I was reading it. And it fit and it flowed with everything that was already there. So it didn't like, because I read at the beginning, I was like, well, maybe I can make it fit here. I can make it fit here. And it was going to be like forcing it. And you can't really force a story, I don't think. Just like you can't force relationships, you can't force people to do or want the same things that you do. And heck, I can't even force myself to do things most of the time. I'm like, I have stuff I need to do, and I can't seem to motivate or force myself to do it. And so anytime I put those extra restrictions on myself or feel like I'm forcing myself to do things, I'm very stubborn, and I will dig my heels in, and I fight myself. I fight God. I'm like, not in a million years. But when I feel like I have the choice, and I'm calm and I'm relaxed, and I feel like I have the choice and I'm not being forced to do something, then I'm more willing to open my mind. I'm more willing to have a broader perspective of things and to realize, oh, okay, this thing that I've been fighting against, like, going to bed at night or whatever it is, or writing in my journal or working on my story. These are things that are good for me. They're healthy for me. It's a positive direction for me to go. But for whatever reason, I was fighting it because I was feeling like I was forcing myself to do something I wasn't ready to do. And as soon as I was ready, I was like, okay, it's easy. I can do this now. And of course, then I get a little frustrated with myself because I put it off for so long. But I'm learning to not be frustrated with myself because it's all in God's timing. God knows me better than I know myself. And he knows exactly what I'm going to do my whole life, all the mistakes I'm going to make, everything I'm going to screw up. And he's got all the things in place to help me learn and to help me grow and to help me become better and to give me exactly what I need in my life. And I'm so grateful for that knowledge and that realization that, I am right where I'm supposed to be, even if it's not where I want to be. And I'm so grateful that I can look around and be happy for all the things that I'm focused on and doing. And I feel like the last couple of days I've been trying to, or maybe just last night and today, like, because last night I still felt like I was avoiding doing everything. And then when I finally wrote in my journal, I sat down and I wrote something fun. And I was like, okay, I don't know why I was putting that off. That was fun. But I wasn't open to the idea of doing something other than working on my book last night. And so then when I got to being so late and I ended up doing something fun instead, I was like, man, I wished I'd have done that earlier. And today, I didn't worry about it. I was like, okay, I just feel like this is what I need to work on today, and I'll just work on what I need to work on today. And so when I got up, I read my scriptures and meditationals, I went and got something to eat, and then I sat down and I opened up recognizing God's hand in my life. And I just said a little prayer before I started. And then the perfect spot just opened up to where I needed to add that story. And it fit and it flowed and I didn't have to force it. It made sense where it went. And it wasn't one of those things, because I've done that, where I stick something in there and then I go back and read. I'm like, this just doesn't make sense here. I'm like, I like the story. I want to keep it. So I try to force it somewhere. And I did that. I try to do that with the Fall of Espanglanja a little bit, because especially since I have to take out so much of that because I wrote it from everybody's perspective and I can't do everybody's perspective. So I have to take out stories or parts of stories, and it's like, oh, I don't want to take that out because it's really good. So then I try to find a way to fit it somewhere else or force it to fit into my story. And I'm like, it doesn't fit. And it's okay if it doesn't fit. It can be used with something else, can be used another time, or it can be like, okay, at least I have it. It's a nice memory. It just isn't going to work in this particular book or this particular situation. So I think when it comes to writing, it's good to have everything kind of flow, to have a purpose, a direction that it's going. And any of those other side things, they're nice, but sometimes they're just a distraction. And I think the same is true of life. So some other things that I like to do, like playing my games or other stuff, they're just a distraction and they keep me from getting to the end of the story. They keep me from finishing what I started doing. And so I'm grateful today that I've not been thoroughly distracted. I did that Saturday. It wasn't until the end of the day that I actually played any games on my phone. And I was like, wow, I went a whole day. And I'm like, I don't need to play games. I want to. So I think I stayed up later just so I could play games on my phone because I hadn't played games all day. And then to make up for it, I played a bunch of games yesterday, which was dumb. And then again today, I'm like, games haven't been a top priority for me. They're not. They're something that I know the more I do positive things in my life and the busier I get with the other projects that I'm doing, the positive things, the less I feel the need to run away from my life, the less I feel the need to play those games. And not that they're not fun to play occasionally or, like a half-hour distraction here or there, but they're not necessary for my day-to-day living. I will be fine without them. It's kind of like, that's like my addiction, my avoidance. I'm so good at trying to avoid things. That default setting is so deeply rooted. And yet I'm looking around in my life and I'm like, what do I have to avoid? I mean, come on. I wrote this amazing poem about myself, and it was so fun to do that. And then to write in my book today and to just have, and I didn't spend more than 20 minutes, I don't think, working on it. But it was just perfect because it was the one story that had popped into my head and it fit perfectly into the section that I thought it was going to go into. And it didn't fit at the beginning where I was trying to put it, but I was like, I waited and I'm like, I'm just going to read the whole thing and see where it will go. And then I was reading, and before I even got to the end, like maybe 2/3 of the way, and I was like, And it goes right here. Like it just fit like right there. Like the sentence leading up to it was just like, and this is, and I was like, okay. And I just set it right up. I was like, perfect. So I think God knew I needed to add that story, and that's where I needed to add it. And I think as I go through the rest of that book, as I trust God and I trust myself, trusting is hard for me, but I'm learning to do that. But as I trust myself and as I go through and read those stories, the ideas will come and the order that they need to be in will come and it will fit and it will flow. And then when I'm done, I can go back through and make a few minor revisions and, tighten up some sentences because I still have my run on sentences. And I did that with some of this. I'm like, oh, this is 2 sentences. I can make it one. Or this doesn't make sense. Or I had one that I'd started something and I'm like, I didn't finish that thought and I put another thought to it. And I'm like, that sentence doesn't make any sense. So I had to fix some things because I do that when I'm in a hurry and I'm writing stuff. Sometimes I don't type. I don't write in my journal or type in my laptop as fast as I think in my head. So sometimes I skip sentences or thoughts unintentionally. Like I don't realize I did because I thought it. I just didn't realize I didn't type it or write it because I was so in such a hurry. So it's always good to go back and reread to catch all the stuff that I missed when I was like super excited about my writing or super emotional about my writing or super into my writing. And I'm a little bit sad that I only spent like 20 minutes on my writing because I could have totally spent more time working on that book. I wasn't feeling like overly emotional. I wasn't feeling like, for once, I wasn't feeling like this was exhausting me and dredging up a whole bunch of things. And I was like, okay, I've processed the story. I've talked about it. And then I just wrote about it. I was like, okay, I'm at peace doing this. This is so much nicer. So some things have been working out of my system. I've been letting go of things, and I'm very grateful that I've been letting go of those things so that when I went back and wrote that today, it didn't have all of the emotion attached to it. It was just the story. And not that I'm a cold-hearted writer, cold-hearted person, but it was just, for me, it was nice to have the memory without the trauma attached to it, without the emotion, without the tears, without all of that, because when it brings up all of those things, which is good because I need to get them out of my system, the problem is it has a tendency to put those emotions onto how my day is, onto how my current life is. So, and that's not how my life really is, but that's how I feel because I dredged up those emotions. And then those emotions have a tendency to overshadow my day. And then I have that conflict of having to, not necessarily the conflict, but I have that process where I have to feel those emotions. I have to let them go. And I have to remind myself that what I'm feeling is based on old situations, old things that happened. And those were appropriate emotions and appropriate feelings for the time that those things happened. But they're not appropriate for today. They have absolutely no relevance on what's going on in my life today. And I'm so grateful I don't even have to do that today because I don't feel like I dredged up emotions when I wrote that today. I just wrote it. It just flowed. It was just there. And I was like, okay. And I knew what happened. But I had already written most of that story. I'd already talked about it. I'd already prayed about it. I journaled about it. So when I went back and did it this time, it wasn't dredging up everything. And I think it's been really good that I took a couple of days to work on The Boy from the Stone and to write that fun little poem to see positive things about me so that when I went to write, I didn't get stuck or pulled back into those old emotions today. And that's amazing for me. It really is. And then it made me want to keep working on it, but I limited my time on that because one, I didn't get up until noon. Should be getting up at 10, but I got up at noon, which is good for me. Yay. And I know I need to put in some more hours at work because I'm kind of behind on some of my bills and Christmas is coming and I need some extra money. So more work is required. Plus I have other projects that I want to finish for making homemade stuff for people for Christmas. So I want to be able to finish those as well. So these are things that I need to do and I need to finish before, I need to finish them before. Anyway, that's my random ramblings. I apologize. But I have other things. I think that was the point, is I have other things that I need to work on and other things I need to do. And I am not in a position right now that I could spend 8 hours a day writing or 6 hours a day writing or however many hours a day working on my writing. Because ideally, I would love to spend at least 2 hours a day or more writing. And I could see it as a full-time job, just writing, except that I have some days where I don't want to write at all and other days where I will write for 10 hours straight. So I'm trying to find a balance, and I am trying to set those boundaries, even though I don't like to. And I especially don't like to when I'm having good days where I'm like, oh, I'm writing and I'm into my book and I'm like, I can do this, I can do this. And I loved feeling like I could do this book, recognizing God's hand in my life today, and that things just fit and it flowed. And I just wanted to go through the rest of it and see what I could make fit and flow and how it would all work together. But I was like, I have to stop because I have other things to do. So I hope that it works out the same for me again tomorrow, if that's what I feel like I'm supposed to work on. But it also makes me grateful that I was willing to take some time for myself to work on something else a little more positive, to see that I do have positive things in my life. I have positive qualities in my life, that I can write happy, playful things. It doesn't all have to be sad, emotional things. And life isn't always about the trauma. It's more about how we handle the trauma, and it's more about finding the happy moments in the middle of everything that's going on, and having that peace and knowing that no matter what is going on, that I am at peace with myself and with God, and knowing that I am doing the best that I can do, and that's good enough. That's all I can do, and it's okay. And I don't have to worry. I don't have to stress. I don't have to figure out my entire life today. I don't get figured out one day at a time. And I will probably be amazed as to where I end up and what happens with all of the stuff that I'm doing. And who knows how many lives all of this will touch from my videos and from my writing. And maybe it won't touch a whole lot. Maybe it'll be a generational thing. Maybe it'll be like, what is it, Emily Dickinson? And it's like, after I'm dead, then everybody wants to read my stuff. I don't know. Of course, she didn't ever share any of her stuff when she was alive, which I can understand because it's kind of scary to put myself out there and to share all of that. But I want to put myself out there. I want to share all of this because I don't want to hide anymore. I don't want to be depressed anymore because I want to see myself the way that God sees me, because I want to see who I really am, what my qualities are, what I have to offer the world, and then I want to share it. I don't want to hide it. I don't want to live in that world where I grow up thinking I have to change who I am or be the chameleon to please everybody else, because then I'm never happy, and it never makes anybody else happy either. And that much I do know. So I may as well be happy regardless of what other people are thinking or doing. And I know that pisses some people off. I remember when I was working on myself, before my divorce, because my ex said he wanted to get divorced, and I was like, and I didn't. So I was working on myself, and I was happy and doing stuff, and he was pissed that I was happy because he was like, you're not supposed to be happy. I'm trying to kick you out. I'm trying to make you miserable. I'm trying to like prove to you that this is a horrible situation. And I was like, I don't know, but it really pissed him off that I was happy, and I just thought it was hilarious. I'm like, seriously, you're just you're just looking for a reason to be angry. And it's true, you can look for reasons to be angry and mad and depressed, and I think I really saw that in black and white with my car accident this last week, because I really had the option to be grateful and to see the positive side of things and to know that I was okay, or I had the option to be angry and see the negative and just feel like miserable. And I chose to see the positive. I chose to say a prayer and tell God, I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be grateful, and I don't see anything to be grateful for. And I started listing all the things to be grateful for. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm going to be grateful. And I wasn't even angry about being grateful. I was grateful that I could be grateful. I was grateful I could recognize that I was in shock, that I could be gentle with myself, that it was all okay, you know? And then I told someone at a 12-step meeting on Saturday, and that person was more pissed off than I was about my accident. I was like, really? Because I'm over it. I mean, I'm still working through the pain of the whiplash and whatever. That takes time to go away. Need to do some more exercising and stretches, which I'm not good at. Just a nice reminder that I need to take better care of myself. I need to pay attention to myself. And when I was doing my scripture and meditationals, I always try to write something, to pray to see myself the way that God sees me, or to pray to know what I need to focus on today. And today it was to pay attention to myself, to my physical body, to my physical needs. What do I need? And how can I meet those needs? So, and things I know that I don't do enough of. I don't drink enough water, so I'm always dehydrated. I don't eat food on a regular basis, so I always feel hungry. So, and I didn't have any food in my house this morning, and I was like, okay. Well, I mean, I had some leftovers. I just didn't want to eat those for breakfast. So I was like, and then I figured I'll just wait until I go to work. And then I looked at the time and I realized it's going to be like 4 hours before I go to work, and I'm hungry, and I should not have to starve myself for 4 hours. So I actually went and got something to eat, which I don't normally do, but I did. I went and took care of myself first, and then my back was a little sore, so I put some ice on it while I was doing my writing, and it was feeling a little bit better. And so I'm learning today, and it will probably take me a long time. It's not going to be like, oh, I just learned today how to take care of myself. That's not going to happen. I would love for that to be the case, but I know myself better than that. And those old default settings of mine are very deep-seated, deep-rooted, and it's hard to dig up all of those roots and to change. And whenever I get in a traumatic situation, or I get hyper-focused on something I'm doing, like my writing or projects that I'm working on, or whatever, even playing my games, whatever it is I'm doing, I have a tendency to ignore my physical needs, to ignore my hunger, to ignore my thirst, to ignore my body when it's saying it's cramping because I've been sitting for too long and I need to get up and move. Because we're not meant to sit and be sedentary. We're meant to get up and to move around. So I'm excited because my friend that helped me with my vision board said we're going to start walking this week. Not going to be in for a couple of days, but it's a good thing. And I'm like, I'm totally out of shape. So I'm like, I can't walk very far. And she's like, oh no, I can't either. We're just going to walk this far and this far, like 3 blocks, 6 blocks, something like that. And I was like, oh good, because I can't do more than that either. But it's nice to have someone else to remind me to put things into perspective, to do things in small increments instead of to try to do everything all at once, because I'm very good at the extremes, the all or nothing. And that's good for me, especially with my writing today, because I did a little bit in my book and it was enough and it was good. And maybe if I tried to do more, it would have been more emotional, it would have been more difficult, and it would have brought up more old stuff. Not the old stuff doesn't need to come up, but it would be stuff that maybe I'm not ready to deal with right this moment today. And I have so many other things I need to do today. So maybe it's a God thing. Maybe it's a blessing that that's all I did was that little tiny bit, because that's what I could handle today. And it was perfect. I mean, I wasn't triggered by any of that, and it felt great and it was good. And I feel good because I'm getting things done and I'm following through on my goals and the things that I wanted to get accomplished. And I'm still going to go to work a little bit later than I would like to be going to work. But I feel like I've been very productive since I got up today. And I will still be able to have several hours that I can work tonight and hopefully be able to get the trips and the money and the whatever that I need so that I can pay my bills. And hopefully, as I continue to do this daily process, that I will get through another book or two in the next 51 days. I don't know, it's 51 days. I thought I'd be done with books already, but see, this is me. I imagined I could do things faster than I actually can because I can picture it in my head being all done. And the reality is it takes much longer than that. And writing books and getting them published, like writing, rewriting, rewriting, I don't know how many times, and getting a book published is a very long process. It probably takes years for the first one. And then each one after that, I hope, is a little bit easier. And it doesn't help that I'm in the middle of like 5 different books and I keep bouncing around to all of them. But that's my personality, and I just get bored with something, or I need a break from one because it's too intense. It's something that's a little bit more fun. And I'm grateful that I can watch myself do that, to make those changes and adjustments and to see how it's helped me relax and to feel better and to be able to have fun and to be able to write something fun about myself last night. I'm so excited about my little poem thing. I need to find a place to put it up on my wall. I probably need to rewrite it so I can actually read it too. But it's fun, and I'm grateful I got to do that, and I'm grateful I got to do my writing today, and that I'm following through. And maybe my schedule's not fitting exactly where I want it to be because I'm not getting up at 10 in the morning. I'm not going to bed at like midnight or 2 in the morning either. But I'm still doing things in the order that I wanted to get them accomplished, and things are getting done. And it feels good to me to be following through and to be getting things done and to know that I can change. And it's not been an overnight change, and it's not been easy to change. And I know I'm not into the perfect better habits at this point, but I'm feeling good and I'm recognizing the changes that I'm making in my life. And I'm very grateful that I can see these changes, and that doing these videos has been my way to see the change. Because I think if I was just doing that, I would probably have gotten so frustrated at some point, like 40, 50 days in. Oh, not 50 days in, last week, when I just couldn't barrel my way through recognizing God's hand in my life, that I would have just given up. Because I've done that in the past, because I couldn't see the progress I was making. And I didn't do it this time because I know I did my 100 days of gratitude, and doing the videos every day made me accountable and made me follow through with that. And doing the videos, it's like, okay, I feel like I have to do the video, and in order to do the video, I have to write something. And if I can't write on that book, then I have to write on something else. And at first, I think I felt a little guilty changing it. I was trying to justify it. And now I can look at it as like, I really needed that break, and it has made such a difference. And then going back, instead of forcing myself to write my book, I'm allowing myself to do it when I was ready. And it works so much better today. And I'm so grateful for that. And I know that when I'm ready to finish that book, it'll get finished, and it will be in God's time, and it will happen because that's what I'm supposed to be doing. But I don't have to force myself to do it. I can't rush through the process as much as I want to. That's still me trying to be like, okay, I'm here and I know I'm at point A and I know I have to get to point C, and I just want to skip over everything in B in between and get to C. and I can't. And I was like, okay, well then I'm going to run through B so I can get to C. And it's too hard to run through it. There's too much stuff and it gets too overwhelming. So it's good to know that there's other ways around, or that I can take a break and do something different. But it doesn't change my end goal. It doesn't change my purpose, and it doesn't mean that I'm not writing. And it just reminds me that there's lots of different things for me to write, that I am talented in lots of other areas of writing as well. And I have lots of different ideas, and God will continue to give me new ideas. So I will probably never run out of ideas of things to do, which I'm also grateful for. And I think I've been rambling today, so I wasn't really trying to make a longer video. I just thought it was funny that my other videos had been shorter. I think I just ramble more when I've learned something, or I'm feeling a little bit different and I'm recognizing it. And I want to point out to myself and to anyone watching, when I recognize the changes in myself, or recognize that I've made progress in this journey, because anyone else that's trying to do the same thing or working on similar things, I want you to know that it works if you keep at it. That sometimes you don't always see what's going on when you're mired in the middle of it. But it's okay to take a break from things for a little bit, to find something else to focus on, and then come back and see the change and the growth. And it's a good thing. And I think sometimes I get so caught up in thinking, okay, I'm falling back because I took a break, or I stopped from something, or because I'm stuck in the middle of it. And I'm like, I just have to push through this, and it sucks. And I don't see the process, the progress. So I'm grateful for people in my life that point out the progress, that tell me I'm doing well, that are proud of me. And I'm grateful that I've surrounded myself with people in my life that are supportive and proud of me now, because I didn't grow up around those kinds of people. And so it's amazing to me that those kinds of people exist, and that they're in my life now. And I'm so grateful for them, because if it weren't for the support of my family and friends now, I don't think that I'd be able to do this. And I'm grateful for God, and for Him inspiring me and helping me and giving me the courage to share everything that I've been able to share in these videos, and everything that I'm writing in my stories, and making it feel like it's safe to do, and it's safe to share, and it's okay. And sometimes it's even fun, which is, I love that it's even fun, because I like doing things that are fun. And I like when it doesn't feel like it's work. It just feels like it's fun. It's just something I enjoy doing. And I look forward to the day that I can actually get paid to do what I enjoy doing. That will be even more fun for me, because it won't feel like it's work. It'll feel like it's fun to just delve into my characters and delve into my stories, and like, and what's going to happen next, and who's going to do this, and how is this going to work. And it's fun. And some of it is tedious, and some of it's, mundane, and some of it's annoying because you have to rewrite it again and it gets frustrating. But it's all part of the process. And I'm grateful that I'm coming to learn and understand the process, and that the process works, and it's working for me in my life. And I know it can work for you and yours. And I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful to know that um, I'm grateful to know that it works. And I think that's all I have today. So if you like this, you can hit like, subscribe, and if you think it'll help someone else or someone else will enjoy it, you can share it with them as well. And I think that's all I have today. So I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe a little writing.